So I just started my second wipe in Tarkov. Last wipe was my first. I put about 500 hours in. All of that was spent learning the game, of course. And I'm discovering during my second wipe that it is a much smoother experience. Just using all of the tips and tricks and general game knowledge that I learned throughout my first wipe is making it significantly more enjoyable to go through the same process during my second. So I just wanted to make a list of some general tips that could help a new player out. This isn't going to be a guide on how to be the best Tarkov player or anything like that, as you can see from my stats. But again, I just wanted to throw this out there. Maybe it'll help some new players and it will get them to fall in love with the game and have a better time playing it. So one of the first things I wanted to go over is just what to expect from a raid in Tarkov. The general flow of a raid is going to be largely the same across maps. Typically, you're going to spawn on one side, and the extraction points the game gives you are typically going to be on the other side of the map. Now, there are ways to get around this, and certain maps are designed differently, but for the most part, if you're a little bit lost in what to do, just think about spawning in, walking through the map, and then finding your extraction on the other side. Now, what's going to come with this is, of course, key points of interest, whether it be quest locations, whether it be boss spawns, whether it be dangerous areas like minefields, or just high loot locations. There's some complexities to it, but a good place to start is to look at a map, find out the spawn points, use some landmarks, find where you spawned, and then get a rough plan of a pathway to get through the map to an extraction that you have. You will learn over time what works and what doesn't, where to walk and where not to. Just remember to pay attention to everything that happens in your raids, because what happens on these maps is not as random as you might think. In Tarkov, there can be unique types of extractions. For instance, you'll find extractions that require you to pull out a green flare, shoot it up into the sky, and then run out of the map and get extracted. There are other types of extractions in the game. Another example are some extractions that spawn a getaway vehicle. If it spawns the vehicle, you can walk up to it, pay it money, wait out the timer, and extract from the map. Some items will have the Found in Raid checkmark. The same item could potentially not have the Found in Raid checkmark. The Found in Raid checkmark means that the item was spawned into a raid, you looted it, and you left. You can also get items that are found in raid by crafting and by certain quest rewards. And many quests will require you to hand in items that have this Found in Raid designation. You can right-click an item and scroll down to Add to Wish List, and you can choose to add a tag of a few different types to an item. What that means is that everywhere you see this item in-game, it will have the symbol and remind you that you need to look out for it. As a new player, there are several items that I would recommend you add to your wish list. This is not going to be a comprehensive list of items that you'll need in the game, but these are items that can be sticking points for new players or early quests, and some of them are helpful for trader barters. BNTI Module 3M Body Armor for a task, Can of Beef Stew Large for tasks, Iskra Ration Pack for tasks, MP133 12-gauge shotgun for tasks, Morphine Injectors for tasks, OFZ Tank Shells for tasks, Packs of Instant Noodles for tasks, Saliwa First Aid Kits for tasks and the fact that it is a very good med item, Secure Flash Drives for tasks, T-shaped plug for tasks, TOZ 106 12 gauge shotgun for tasks, 60 round AK mags for tasks, dry fuel for hideout upgrades, sewing kit for hideout upgrades, damaged hard drive for a backpack barter, emergency water ration for a medkit barter, paid roach spray for the same medkit barter, insect pipe wrenches for an Uzi barter, propane tanks for an armor barter, a CMS surgery kit for having something to repair your damaged limbs in raid. You can trade items with traders. This is called a barter. So rather than use a currency, you'll just give them a certain item or set of items and they'll give you something in return. Now some of these barter deals are very helpful. So if you want to look through them, you can actually sort the trader inventories by barter items if you would like. In the top left-hand side of this inventory, there's going to be a box. If you do not check that box, the game will not put the item into the trading field and you will have to manually drag it. So if you check that, it'll do it for you. To level up a trader, you're going to have to reach a certain account level. You're going to have to increase your reputation to a certain number through questing. And you're going to have to spend a certain amount of money with each trader. So that can be buying or selling items to them. Each trader is going to have different requirements. And every time you unlock a new level at a trader, their inventory is going to become a lot more substantial and give you even more options for loadouts. I want to show you where to find your quests or your tasks as they're called in game. So from the main screen here of your stash, you can go over to traders at the bottom. And of course you can buy things here. But if you click on the task tab, you can then go through all the traders, turn in items for quests, and accept new quests. Back from our character screen, you can go up immediately onto the top bar, and this will bring up all of your tasks where you can sort by location, and it will show you progress completion, and it will even show you if a task is currently completed and you need to turn it in. This field on the right here is very important. In some tasks, you'll have to go find an item, bring it out of a raid, and turn it into a trader. When you bring it out of the raid, it will appear in this inventory. If you do not turn it in, you will enter the next raid with it and it will be at risk. If you die, you will lose that quest item. So what you can do is of course turn it in immediately, or you'll be able to drag an item down to the bottom and store it in your stash. You can instantly move loot between containers by holding Control and clicking. You can instantly equip armor and weapons by holding Alt and clicking. You can save space in your stash by clicking on a gun, removing the magazine, removing the grip, and in some cases you can fold the stock by pressing middle mouse button. So, whereas we did have a 2x4 before, now we are only taking up 6 total squares. Once you unlock the workbench in your hideout, you can then right-click a gun and select Edit Build, and this will bring up a screen where you can customize a weapon, and when you're finished, you can save it as a loadout, click an Assemble button, and follow the prompt to buy the parts if they're available. You can right-click any item, select Linked Search, and it will bring up a list of related items. Now these items are all things that can either be used on that part or that part can be used on. So if you're ever unsure of how guns fit together or if a part has any purpose, you can link search it and you can find out how the game wants you to use it. Alright, so we're in an offline raid here just to show you some things. When you reload in Tarkov, your character will remove the magazine, place it in his pockets or his tactical rig, and then it will grab a magazine and put it in the gun. You can demonstrate that here by right-click reloading. As you can see, there's an in-between phase where both slots are being used. What that means is that if you have full pockets and full tactical rig, and you're in game and you hit the reload button, your character is going to throw that magazine on the ground and then reload. So, you always need to make sure that you have an empty spot for your magazines to go. Otherwise, you're going to be walking around reloading and you're going to leave the raid and have no magazines left and wonder what happened. So you can actually set a hotkey to throw your backpack onto the ground. Now the reason you'd want to do that is to lower the weight of your PMC during a gunfight, or to make sure your silhouette is smaller. Just remember where you left it. So the health system in Tarkov is actually pretty interesting. You have your character's body split up into different parts: legs, arms, stomach, thorax, head. If any of these segments loses all of its HP, we call that getting blacked out, because it will actually turn black on your character picture. If that happens, it will then start distributing the damage to all of the other good parts of your character's body. So you can actually die by only ever getting shot in your big toe. Now, what causes you to die is if your thorax or your head reaches 0 HP. These are the two most important parts of your body. So you don't want these to fall to 0. You always want to prioritize those when you're healing your body. Settings are typically up to personal preference, of course, but there are some that I do recommend you pay attention to in Tarkov. Starting with stamina and stance and health condition, I recommend setting those to always shown, and that will mean that you will always know if you are moving slow because you're crouched or if you're moving slow because your leg got shot off. It's good to always be able to see exactly what's happening with your character at any given time. I also recommend you set double-click item quick use to in-raid only. That will mean that you won't accidentally double-click a food or a med item in your stash and use it when you don't mean to. I also recommend playing around with post-FX settings. They will make your game look drastically different. Here are my settings, and you can copy them if you want, but I recommend you just play around with what works best for your setup. Here are keybinds, and you have a lot of options in Tarkov, a lot of freedom to set your keyboard up the way you want it. Just one that is pretty much not explained in the game at all is how to clear a jam. So in Tarkov, to clear a jam, you have to first inspect your weapon in one action, and then clear the malfunction in another action. So what you can do is you can set check chamber / fix malfunction and inspect current weapon to the same key. So in my case, I chose J for jam. So I have the first time I press J set to inspect my weapon. And when I release J, I have it set to fix malfunction. So what that allows me to do is hold down the J key. And when I do that, my character will inspect the weapon and tell me the cause of the jam. And then after a second or two, when I let go of J, it will automatically fix the malfunction for me. I want to show you guys the main two websites that I used while I learned the game and still use. First being the Tarkov wiki. It's a very good wiki. You can find information about just about anything in the game. The main thing that I use it for is finding out exactly what an item does and what I need it for, and for quest guides. Just as a quick example, we'll click on a quest like gun or golden swag we'll go with. It's going to give you the objectives of the quest. It's going to give you the different keys or items you'll need. It's going to give you locations on a map where to find them, what the spawn looks like, and where to take it. So the Tarkov wiki is a great resource. I highly recommend having it up on a second monitor and just searching anything you could be confused about. Second website is tarkov.dev. I exclusively use this website for its maps. These are the best free maps that I've seen. There's one for every single map, some 2D, some 3D. They're extremely helpful in just kind of understanding where different key points are in relation to others. You can use it to learn spawns, and most importantly, you'll probably use it to find a way to extract out of the raid. But I would highly recommend tarkov.dev for maps. Thanks for watching the video. Obviously, this is not a comprehensive list of every bit of information you need. So if you have anything that a new player would benefit from, feel free to comment it down below. Thank you.